Okay, that's not how this works. Look what this says. I've given them the glory. I've given these people my glory that you gave me so that they could be one just like you and I are one, and I'm in them like you are in me. Look what it says, so that they could be brought to unity. Well, it'd be really nice if we could get along. But what's the point? So that the world would know you sent me. That's why. Listen, there's nothing hindering the message of Jesus more than the fact that Christian people can't get along with each other. Nothing is hindering the message more than the fact that we want to sit around and argue over things that really aren't that important. We are the ones who came up with division. We are the ones who came up with denominations and labels and opinions and preferences. That was us. That wasn't God's plan. And I got news for you. If we could somehow find a way to be unified, our message would be incredibly more effective, much more effective. Imagine those of you that are parents, I want you to picture this. Your kid comes home from college, and they have a person that they're with, and they're going to spend time forever with this person because they're going to get married. And in the one weekend that you see them, all they do is yell and holler and fight. What would you say? You would say, "Welcome to marriage." No, you wouldn't say that. You would say, "What are you doing? You can't even get along, let alone really love each other and be a good example." That's what you would say, I would hope. Well, it's the same thing. If God's kids can't get along, that kind of limits our effectiveness. And so Christ's prayer is for us to be unified. Unified. Look around this room. We didn't all exactly grow up in South Dakota. Okay? We're from all over the world. And all the things we have that are different, we still have things that we have in common. And one of the things that brings Friends Community Church together is the common unity. That's what community means. A common unity of who Jesus is and who He claims to be and who He wants us to be. That's our unity. And so we can take all of our things and we can put them aside and agree on these things, because these are the essentials. Jesus Christ, Son of God, Redeemer, paid for my sin, buried, resurrected, lives forever, coming back, and I am now his ambassador of the kingdom. That brings us to unity. Now, if you want to start talking about all the things that we're going to disagree about, we could be here all day and accomplish nothing. If you have an argument with somebody, it never changes their mind. All it does is you polarize more, and so do they. Almost always. Rarely does an argument change anybody's mind. And when you run into somebody who says, "Oh yeah, well I just don't believe that Jesus stuff," I'm going to tell you now, if you're going to argue with them, you're just going to push them farther and farther away. But if you just say, "Okay, that's what I found works for me. I just want you to know I love you." Okay. You'd be surprised how, instead of it being repulsive, now they're kind of like, wait, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to get Bible thumped again. Well, I'm not a Bible thumper. Okay? I talked to you about this when I was on the cruise. I'm not one of those born again. Okay? And you don't want to be either. You want to be somebody that loves people in spite of their mess. But I don't know if you know it or not, but you're a mess too. Can I tell you the difference between me and Tiger Woods? That's just one. No, I'll tell you the difference between me and Tiger Woods. And I'm using me as an example, but you can put your name in there too. My sins haven't been broadcast to the whole world. That's the only thing different, significant between me and Tiger. And if the whole world knew my sin, no one would like me either. Come on now. That was about an 8.8 on the gospel preaching scale, and I got one amen. See, we don't like that because now all of a sudden preacher's stepping on my toes, and this is Christmas. Be happy. No, tell the truth. Tell the truth. And the truth is, the world just doesn't know. The world is waiting to see us as Christian people love each other in spite of our mess. In spite of the mess. Because we're all a mess. And if you don't think you're a mess, then you're not being honest. Merry Christmas. God's kingdom is also for every circumstance. Absolutely every circumstance you'll ever face. You will never face that circumstance alone. Oswald Chambers said, "You will face nothing that doesn't first pass through the hands of the loving God." You don't face anything Never alone. You might be alone in the parking garage and get jumped, but you're not alone. No matter what you face, you are never alone. Never. This verse right here is really confusing. It's from Psalms 10. And basically what it says is, God, you see all this stuff going around, and you consider it. I love that line. And you consider it whether or not to take it in your hand. I got asked last Sunday morning, if God is loving and if God is love, why is there so much suffering in the world? It's the proverbial question. Why do children get abused? Why are there hungry people? Why is there crime? Why is there all this stuff? I know the answer. I am so smart. I know the answer. I want you, here's the answer. Ready? It's life. That's the answer. Because God, way back when, created humanity, and He created people, and He created stuff, and stuff happens. And God, because of His character, is not going to intervene just because. He can't. Because it would violate who He really is. I'll give you an example. There was a big hurricane coming into New Orleans, and Christians all over the world were praying, please, God, don't let the storm hit land. Well, it did. So does that mean God didn't hear our prayers? No, it means God did hear our prayers. It means God can't stop the hurricane. Why? Because when God created the earth, He created weather. And what He did was He said, when this over here hits that over here, it makes it go like this, and then there's rain, and then it goes like this, and then it makes lots of water. And so God created. Could God stop it? Yes. Is He going to? No. Because if He'd stop that hurricane, He'd have to stop every hurricane and every tornado and every wildfire and every other thing, and that would violate His character. Because now He's intervening in the daily things of mankind. Big planes fly into big buildings, thousands of people die. God, why didn't you stop the planes? Because I can't. Why? Because if He takes away those people's choice to sin, He has to intervene every time you're going to sin. And He's not going to do that. He'd be the busiest guy on the planet if He had to intervene every time we were going to sin. Oh, stop. Oh, stop. And so we don't learn and we don't become righteous and we don't become holy if God stops us every time. We have to learn our lesson. Just like Adam and Eve had to learn a lesson. So God sees starving people. God sees hurting children. He sees marriages and businesses and all this stuff suffering. And God looks down with compassion and says, I want to help. But you got to ask for help. Because what God wants to do is not change our circumstance. He wants to change us. Because our circumstance isn't going to heaven. We are. It's life. It stinks sometimes. But it's life. That's why there are starving people. That's why bad things happen to good people. Because people have choice. And there's consequence for choice. It stinks. That's what happens. I know you can't read most of this. All you need to read is the big red part. This is from Matthew 6. You're looking around, you got all this stuff, you got all these concerns. Are you kidding? That's Jesus' basic phrase. Are you nuts? Look at the birds. They don't have any worries. They fly around. You know? They're not worried. The lilies of the field, they're beautiful. You know? They're not worried. What are you worried about? God cares about you. Did you know worry can kill you? And if not, nothing else, it will drive your spouse crazy. And some of us have the gift of worry. Worried about everything. And it's not just that being concerned is okay. But when we worry, what we've done is we've decided I am going to allow this situation to consume me to the point that I feel like I can control it. And worry will eat you up from the inside out. Literally. You don't need to be worried, concerned, yes. Pay attention, yes. Worried, no. Because worry says, this situation is bigger than the God who can take care of me. Nah, that's not true. Worry gives fear a big shadow. It's like holding a flashlight up to a mouse on a wall. He's 12 feet tall. And it's a mouse. It's just a mouse. Oh no, Pastor Tom, look, he's giant. No, it's just a mouse. Yeah, it's a big mouse. You know what a 600-pound mouse says? Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Anyway. That was free. I'll be here all week. My point is that fear and worry make our circumstances seem almost impossible to deal with. And you guys remember the day when you couldn't sleep and you're